Hi everyone, Howard from StartupRemarkable.com here. I'm here with a very special guest. Amir Khella is over in London for the first time. Amir is founder. He's got like quite a successful background. You've helped launch about a dozen startups, many of them which have been acquired. I think it's 7 have been acquired. He's also founder of Keynotopia, something a prototyping tool built just for startup founders that you may have used already. It's one of the best out there, and also of the Amir Khella blog, which I follow myself all the time. We're here in London at Lean Startup Machine, London. Hello.
Hi.
Amir. Hello. So Amir has just given a kind of presentation here in Lean Startup Machine, and I think it's actually quite cool that we're meeting here at Lean Startup Machine, because the last Lean Startup Machine London in February, which I won, afterwards when I was looking to prototype and kind of put together some kind of user flow for the app, I went onto Udemy and I bought a course on UX design done none other by this guy sitting right here beside me. So it's actually quite cool. I'm sitting here now and we're doing this interview. So Amir, just for people out there who maybe aren't so familiar with the terminology UX design, what is UX and why is it so important?
So there is this saying I always tell people is that UX stands for user experience, not use your experience. So basically, it's taking the mindset of you're the product creator, you know what people want already, you don't need to go and ask them, into having something that's user-centered. And some people call it user-centered design because you're not creating something, you're not just putting a solution out there, you're really figuring out what people want and what they need and how they would want to use your product, and if what you're creating actually resonates with the way they want to use it. So answering a lot of questions that and validating assumptions. So it kind of aligns very well with the lean startup concept.
Okay. So practically then, if someone has an idea, maybe to talk to a few people and kind of validate it a bit, what's the first steps then from kind of bringing that to a point, maybe in a prototype where they have something they can show to people? Like, what would be the first things they should start doing of a process?
So I always start by creating stories. So once I talked with people, I try to capture the user problem and my solution in a story based on what I asked them about and how I surveyed them and what information I got from them. So this helps me then break down these stories into tasks and figure out how to prioritize these tasks and which ones I want to solve in my first prototypes.
Okay. So you pick a story on how a customer would use the product? Is
right,
that it? Yeah.
Right. So I kind of like look at it from this perspective. Your product is what's going to rewrite the user's current story.
Mm-hmm.
So I write 2 types of story. The first one is the current state of the user, what they're struggling with, what do they do, like let's say before Yelp came out, how did people find out which place to go eat at? Well, maybe they called up a couple of friends and asked them for recommendations, or maybe they went to the Yellow Pages or website and looked for things that are nearby. But sometimes they would have frustrations. They would go to a place that wouldn't be good, or they would be going out together, but some friends didn't really like eating meat, or some didn't like Thai food, but they ended up compromising. But that's the frustration. I captured that frustration, that problem.
Okay.
That's the first story, and then I try to rewrite that story where if I imagine there is a magical solution that I can come up with, and try to forget any kind of limitations of technology or what I can do, what I cannot do, or what exists already, and try to imagine what that magical solution would be like and what would give them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't get into the detail. It's just they open the app and they find a place within 5 miles that is good enough for vegan and meat eaters, and that's got both food and drinks.
Mm-hmm.
So and then they go together. So that's, and then maybe he sends this place for all their friends, and 4 out of 5 approve, and it's consensus, so they go to that place. Without getting into detail about sign up or how they connect with Facebook or with Twitter, these are all implementation details.
Okay. Cool. Okay, now your startup, Keynotopia, which I mentioned, have I got this right? You launched that in 3 hours, and you got a paying customer within 10 minutes, and it cost you $50 to launch, right?
$47.50.
$47.50.
Yeah.
Okay, that's quite cool, and it's like a pretty, like, it's, thousands of customers now, I'm sure.
Yeah, we have over 25,000.
25,000 customers now. That's like awesome.
Paying customers.
Paying customers, of course. So, like, how did you realize that there was that compelling need? And can you just tell us through how you knew there was such a need there, and how you kind of brought it to market so fast in those 3 hours?
Well, before those 3 hours, there was 3 weeks where I wrote a comprehensive blog post about how I used Keynote to prototype iPad apps.
Yeah.
And I created a video, and actually, like, even before the night before I posted the blog post, I was working on it, recording the video, and my buddy dropped by, and he looked at the video, and he laughed a little bit because I sounded funny in the video. I think I had cold that day or something, and he's like, "That's gonna be cool, just post it for some laughs." I'm like, "Okay, cool, we'll post it. I don't care. I just want people to know there is a good way to prototype iPad apps."
So you've done a video of how you had prototype stuff in the
I've
past.
done a video showing the prototype that I created, and
Yeah.
then I created a long post about the step-by-step process that I used.
Cool.
And I think it resonated enough with people because, like, within a couple weeks, I had more than 10,000 people come and read that specific blog post, and I had put a very early version of these templates with the blog post to download for free, and we had over, I think, 500 downloads in the first week or something, and I had, like I was saying in the presentation, I had one simple question: would someone be interested in actually paying for these templates? Because if they pay, I can start adding more templates to them.
Mm-hmm.
And like I would, before I created the website, I was worried because, like, what if people really thought it's not worth that much? What if they all wanted their money back or something? What if someone calls the police or something, and someone's taking dungeon or something, whatever? But it's what I really rationalized about is, if this saves someone an hour of their time, if they're a design professional, if they're a startup entrepreneur, if it saves them 1 hour to create a prototype, then it's worth the price.
Okay.
And that was my assumption. So when I created that website and the whole shopping solution end to end by just plugging in what already exists, I didn't have to write any code. Instead of having that download button in the website, go and download the free templates, it would just go to that website.
Okay.
So I used an existing traffic that I created with something valuable.
Okay.
And it was getting viral, it was starting to snowball, and I picked the point before it hit the peak, and I rerouted that traffic. So I wasn't,
Okay.
if I hadn't done this, I would probably go and buy Google AdWords or Facebook ads, and that would help me validate that concept. But the whole point was, would someone buy it? I didn't care about putting in, weeks and weeks of work into creating a full-on product before getting that question answered.
Okay, and Amir, that initial blog post, was that on a standalone website, or was that on your own blog?
Yeah, that was
on your own blog.
Yeah.
And it was just like through organic means, and it just being really great content that people started going.
Yeah, content's a great way. I'm a big fan of inbound marketing, and I think content is the best way to get traffic. And to this point, I tried some Facebook ads and I tried some AdWords. It doesn't even come close.
Okay.
And content, not just content to get traffic, or content to get good SEO, but to really solve a problem that someone has, or a lot of people have, hopefully.
Cool, cool. And okay, so you established the need at this point, and can you talk me through those kind of 3 hours of, the putting the product together and getting that first sale within kind of 10 minutes? Can you tell us how you kind of did that?
Well, I think I spent like half an hour sketching things on paper for what kind of website I want to create, what kind of product.
Okay.
And dumbing it down to something that I can put together in 3 hours. So there was nothing but a landing page with the list of templates that I have. And I had I think it only had PowerPoint, iPad, iPhone, and then both for half the price or for a good discount. Like buy one, get one free or something like that. And that was it. And so one page for the landing page, one page for a list of templates, and screenshots.
And you mentioned before this is just a WordPress site, wasn't it?
So yeah. So I didn't want to create things from scratch. I didn't want to go in and, because the one thing I like about WordPress is the amount of plugins that are there. So if I want to optimize things for SEO, if I want to plug in a shopping cart or something, now there are a lot of platforms that allow to do this. But WordPress, I was very comfortable setting up WordPress sites within like 15 minutes, so it seemed like and that's the thing about prototyping, you don't need to learn something new, you can already use what you already know, and that's the whole point behind the Keynotopia templates. You don't need to learn another design or prototyping tool. If you already know how to use a presentation tool like Keynote or PowerPoint, why not use that knowledge, leverage that knowledge with these templates to get whatever you need done with another framework that's not a presentation.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so you put together this site, right? For somebody who has an idea, done a bit of validation, how do they know what the most stripped down version should be for that prototype? Does that make sense?
Right. Well, it depends on the user story.
It goes back to the user story.
So my user story was, I want someone to buy the templates.
Right.
What do they need? They need to learn what are the templates. They need to see what's included. I need to be able to press a button and buy them.
Okay.
I didn't care, and I didn't have any tutorial videos back then.
Yeah.
I just had screenshots. Right now, I edit hours and hours of free tutorials, and this is one of the best ways probably to market a product, is to teach people and let them make the decisions on their own. If people find that method cool and efficient and they want to buy it, that's fine. If they don't, I'm not forcing them to pay something in order to see the tutorials. They're all free.
Okay, cool. Okay. Now you mentioned inside during your presentation that it's important to have multiple prototypes. Can you just give me the analogy that you said during the presentation?
Right. So, I'm an addict of A/B testing.
Okay.
I do A/B testing on a weekly basis, and that specific landing page, I think we did about, first couple of weeks, we did about 30 different variations of that page.
Okay.
And sometimes it would just be the color of a button or the tagline. That tagline you see, like the first line you see on the page, it was changed about 20 times since the website launched. And even something like, because I have something to measure, like your measure might be maybe user sign up, or a specific page that I want the user to get to. For me, I was measuring two things: how fast do they get to the templates page, and do they buy or not?
Yeah.
So I can really measure the impact of just changing the color. Like we have, for example, a lifetime money back guarantee. So even after 10 years you don't like the templates anymore, I'll give you your money back. Just changing that guarantee tagline from, I think we had it like maroon to green and then blue. I thought initially that green would give them the best conversion, but blue was actually better.
I could statistically see that.
Right, I have the numbers that
Yeah.
prove it, and I ran the test for a couple of weeks, and
Yeah.
against my initial guess, it was blue. So, but I didn't follow my gut feeling for that
Yeah.
one. I just tested it.
Sure.
So you have and to this day, I still plan a lot of A/B tests every month.
Nice. And you mentioned as well that it's important to have multiple prototypes because a bit like if you brought a dress home to your girlfriend.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that analogy actually from the guys at IDEO.
All right, I hadn't
And,
heard it before. Could you maybe just say it again? Just
Right. So if your girlfriend comes home or your wife comes home with a dress she already bought, and she asks you, "What do you think?" There's only one answer to give. We all know that. Otherwise, you'd be sleeping on the couch. But if you're shopping together and you're helping her out and you're sitting in front of a fitting room, she comes out with different dresses and she tells you what do you think, you can give an objective feedback because you're helping her pick between different ones. And at the end, if you tell her, none of them look good yet, let's keep shopping, she's going to be fine with that. And when you go to a customer with one prototype that you spent days or weeks putting together, you're going to feel attached to the prototype, and they're going to feel a little intimidated to tell you what they think, honestly, because they would think they're giving you feedback about you, about your work, not about the prototypes. But when you go with like 3 or 5 different solutions and you can tell them, hey, tell me which one is good, and it's okay if none of them is good, but if something is good about one of them, something else is good about another one, we can still take your feedback and put it together and maybe bring you back the following week to look at one that's kind of like a mixture of the best of all of them. So it's very valuable to have multiple prototypes, and it doesn't have to be significantly different than each other, but sometimes prototype with locations, prototype with a list of locations, prototype with a map, prototype with both, and then you kind of test. And it's important to know what you're testing. Maybe it's the amount of time it takes them to find a place, or the error rate, how many times they clicked on the wrong link before they get to that page.
Yeah. No,
So it doesn't have to be
really
a
good.
lot. Like in the beginning, maybe you'll test 3 completely different prototypes. It's just the diversion phase, and then the convergence phase. You're gonna start figuring out, okay, that general layout is good, but maybe these blocks could be in different locations or different blocks, and you're gonna narrow down every time and keep testing, keep improving it. I don't think there is an end to when a design is complete or when a prototype is complete. Even when the product is out, it's always a prototype. It can always be improved.
Awesome. This is coming from the man who really knows. Right, we're coming close to the end of the interview now. I just wanted to jump on to about your blog, because I follow your blog all the time, and we were just chatting before the interview. Quite recently, I've been kind of going through some phases of, I've been, I suppose, trying to decide between 2 ideas I'm wanting to work on, and you got some great blog posts on that. Is that something that you kind of have struggled with yourself, or is it something that you can, when you have some ideas of how do you decide which to work on?
I have different criteria. The biggest one is what's the thing that I'm most passionate about right now? Which one excites me the most? Because I found over and over that when you create something you're passionate about, people feel that coming through your product.
Okay.
So there is, which one am I passionate about? Which one will resonate the most with a problem that I want to solve?
Mm-hmm.
So I try not to get attached to the idea so much.
Mm-hmm.
I find an idea kind of like the push that I need to get out and talk to people and figure out how to get into the space that I want to solve. But at the end, the idea always changes.
Okay.
And it's the real questions that I go to people asking. Okay, tell me about I don't go to them and ask, what do you think of my idea? I go to them and ask, tell me about your day. Tell me about how you manage your teams offshore and on site. What struggles are you having with that? and I keep asking them questions. I show that I'm curious about the problems more than I want to boast about my idea
Okay.
or
Okay.
validate something.
That's really good advice.
What else do I use to validate an idea? Well, sometimes this is what helps me the most, and I say I'm gonna work for 30 days on one idea, and if I don't see any kind of progress, any kind of insight or feedback that tells me I'm on the right path, maybe I'll try something else. And it helps me. I think I once heard that analogy or difference between deciding and choosing. And decide is the word side, which means cut. So you have it in like the word, kind of like the word homicide. It has
Right.
cutting in it. Choosing is basically I'm putting things on the side for now. I'm just going to work on one of them. And I think this is kind of a common thing between entrepreneurs, that you get a lot of ideas. Sometimes they can be distracting. So at the end, it's going to change. So pick a domain that you're excited about rather than the idea. So if you're excited about solving enterprise collaboration, then start with the idea and let it take you to wherever you need to go. But if you're not quite excited about that space, just go and do like an iPhone game or Android mapping app or whatever. But something that excites you the most.
Okay, cool. Okay, well, it's been awesome having you here, Amir. Just one question that I always ask people as a final question. If there is one piece of advice from everything you've seen now that you would give somebody who's just about to try and build something, what's the number one kind of thing they should look for?
Life is freaking short, so build some awesome stuff, because really building bad stuff is not a good use of life. And we're all heading for the same end, so don't be afraid of being judged. Don't be afraid of don't postpone things. Just do it today, and however you can do it, just give it your best shot.
Nice. And we can find you on the web on Keynotopia.com, isn't it? Keynotopia.com. Amir's blog, I'm going to put it at the bottom of this post as well, so you can check out the awesome blog posts and your link on Twitter. It's been great having you here in London.
Pleasure.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.